dude sweared this happened when he was a kid. So he was in 4th grade, it was a small country school, and he's out at recess. Well, everybody's running around playing kickball while he's walking towards the metal slide. That's when he said he noticed 2 short people standing under the slide, both dressed like monks. Long robes, weirdly shaped heads, and incredibly bushy eyebrows. He said that they're just standing there smiling at him. They're looking directly at him. Then one of them says,
"You don't remember us, do you?" "I don't think he remembers us."
He said at that moment he had never felt fear the way he did. He looks around. Nobody else sees these 2 little creepy guys. He runs inside and he tells the teacher. The teacher walks out. She can't find anything underneath the slide, but he swears that they were there. Maybe they were, probably not, but to this day, and he's a grown man now, he says that they were there. What? At one high school, there was a kid who loved his cat more than anything. He'd had the cat since he was a little tyke. They grew up together. The cat slept at the end of the bed every single night. Well, eventually the cat got old and passed away. No! No. And the family buried it. Or at least that's what people thought. A few weeks later, this kid starts talking to his parents about taxidermy, which is when you stuff an animal to display on a wall or a mantle. You know, you've seen fish or deer. Well, his parents think he's joking at first, but after more conversations, they realize that he's dead serious. He was so attached to the cat, he couldn't part with it, so they actually had it preserved. Now here's where the story gets a little strange. There was one teacher at his school that he really looked up to. This teacher always encouraged him, always asked him how his cat was doing. So one morning he decides he's gonna bring his stuffed cat to school to show his teacher. He walks into school carrying a big box. The teacher smiles. "Morning, miss." "Hey, sweetie, how are you?" "I want to show you something." "Oh, okay. What's in there?" He sets the big box on her desk, opens the top, and pulls out the stuffed cat, hands it to her. "Here." "Oh my god! What is it?" "It's Mr. Whiskers. I had him stuffed." "Oh, that's lovely." Now at this point, there were other students in the classroom as well, and they were horrified. Nobody knows what to say, and this kid's just standing there smiling like he did something good. And every day for the rest of that year, he carried around his stuffed cat, and people just let him. That's grief for you. You never know how someone's gonna handle it. This kid got a summer job at a water park. Most employees spent their breaks sitting in the shade or eating a pretzel with cheese and milk. Well, he spent his breaks in the wave pool because every single day people would lose stuff in this wave pool. Sunglasses, necklaces, earrings, wedding rings. People would search for a few minutes and then they would always give up and they would leave. So every single break he would throw on his goggles and he would get into this wave pool. And it's not easy to search the bottom of the wave pool, but this kid was a very talented swimmer and he could hold his breath for an incredibly long time. So he would spend his entire 30-minute break looking around the bottom of this pool. First day he found a gold chain, then somebody's wedding ring, then somebody's waterproof wallet with $50 in it. Now he had a decision to make. Should he take this stuff to the pawn shop to see what he can get for this gold necklaces and wedding rings? But he decided to bring it to the lost and found instead. And more people than not came back looking for their stuff, and they were always shocked that it was there, and they all had to thank this kid. It paid off eventually though, because one lady who had lost her incredibly valuable wedding ring came, and when she saw it, she was so relieved. She gave this kid $600. He was so grateful. He became a legend. He kept doing this every single day. It got to the point where his bosses let him take longer than usual breaks because now he wasn't searching just the wave pool. He was in the lazy river, the deep end of the dive pool, everywhere. And everything he found, he brought back to the office. Hey, you gotta respect the hustle. And that's a respectful one. At one school, there was a poop bandit, and nobody knew who it was, because nobody ever saw him. All they knew was that every couple of weeks, he would strike again. For example, one morning, a teacher opened up her desk drawer. Oh, there's poop in here! Now, the poop bandit would strike in many different places. Desks, lockers, on the floor of the hallway. And every time he did this, there was always a little note, and the note would say, "If my demands are not met, the poop bandit will strike again." And whenever this would happen, people would be freaking out. But here's the problem. There were never any demands. Just a note. And because there were no demands, there was no way to meet the demands, so every few weeks, he would strike again. But he would still leave the note. It was the absolute biggest mystery in school, and it stopped for a few years. And then it happened again. People think it's a copycat bandit, because the first bandit obviously had to have graduated. But still, what a legend? This kid got half the school to pay for something that didn't exist. On Monday morning, he walked into school holding a clipboard. At the top of it, the clipboard said waiting list. And that's it. And then there were slots for names. Well, he starts talking about it and showing people. And they ask him, hey, waiting list for what? He says, I actually can't tell you, but it's awesome. You want on the list? Sure. It's just $2 to secure your spot. Okay, sure. Here, kid pays. Gets his name added to the list. And how it usually works is people start noticing. And that's exactly what they did. And then they were curious as well. Now, not everybody was dumb enough to sign up and pay for a waiting list spot for something that they had no idea about, but a lot of kids did. By the next day, word had spread a bunch. And more kids wanted on the waiting list. But that's when he upped his game. The waiting list is actually full, you guys, but we did add 10 more spots. It's just $5 this time to hold it. And everyone did. People signed up for this thing. Teachers start asking and the parents started hearing about this. A teacher asked him, hey, so what exactly is the waiting list for? Don't worry about it. It's exclusive. After about 3 weeks of doing this and making a lot of money, somebody cornered him. It was the school janitor. Hey kid, what's going on here? I demand an answer onto what this is. He just smiles and says, there isn't one. This is a waiting list to nothing. Oh, I also spent all the money. So, what are you gonna do about it? The janitor gets the principal suspends him. But he never had to pay the money back, so I guess that's a win. But he is a scammer, so it's bad to scam people, right? He was the coolest kid in school. He played guitar better than most adult musicians. And everybody loved him. If there was a talent show or a bonfire, he would bring his guitar and he would play the most beautiful music. Then one 4th of July weekend, he was out with some friends, and somebody brought fireworks. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but this kid was holding fireworks in his hand, and apparently they went off too early. All right, guys. A couple months later, he came back to school. He blew off every single one of his fingers. He would walk around with a hoodie on, his hands buried in his pocket. He never looked at anybody. People would say hi to him. He would just keep walking. And nobody knew what to say because they'd all loved hearing him play guitar. And the truth is, he couldn't play anymore. And it absolutely ruined him because he realized he would never be able to pick up a guitar again. And that was his passion. So kids, if you're seeing this before the 4th of July, be careful. If you're seeing it after, I hope you were careful. Take care. There was a kid whose family owned a capybara, and one day, him and his parents got permission to bring this animal into class. Everybody figured it would stay for about an hour. Instead, this thing spent the entire day wandering around campus with this kid. Everybody meet Gerald! Teachers loved it, the principal loved it, the students loved it, and by lunch it had become the most popular student in the school. Well, that day was the day that student elections were happening, and somebody thought it would be funny to quickly make a bunch of posters. Vote Gerald the capybara for class president. The teachers and the principal thought that nobody would take this seriously, but then people started writing his name on the ballots. Gerald. A lot of kids did this. Teachers started hearing people talk about it in the hallways. Who are you voting for? Gerald has my vote. Well, election day comes. Votes get counted. And somehow the capybara wins by a lot of votes. The principal had to stand in front of the school and explain that unfortunately the class president has to be a student. So the student with the next most votes won, and they anointed the capybara as vice president. Way to go, Gerald! There was a kid that carried a Polaroid camera every day at school. People just thought he liked taking pictures. He would stop, shoot a picture, and move on. He would stick the photo in his backpack. Nobody ever asked to see them because he never offered. Freshman year, he was taking pictures. Sophomore year, still taking pictures. Junior, senior year, taking pictures every day. But he always took pictures of very specific things, like somebody slipped and fell in the cafeteria, teachers mid-sneeze, mascot losing his head at a football game, somebody just got dumped and is crying in the bathroom. Every embarrassing moment. Then graduation rolls around. Everybody's signing their yearbooks, getting emotional. High school graduation. That's when this kid shows up with a giant 3-ring binder, and he sets it down on the lunch table. Inside this binder are hundreds of Polaroid pictures. Every single embarrassing moment from freshman to senior year. Everyone wanted to look at it, but he said, nobody can look at it until this is auctioned off. And if nobody buys it, I'm burning it at the end of the year bonfire. And just like that, people were bidding. Half the graduation class was standing around him and this binder, and they were offering money. And it got pretty intense. The highest bidder gets the binder, and they can do whatever they want with these. It ends up selling for $300. Person that bought it just sat down, let everyone look over his shoulder while he flipped through it. And actually, those embarrassing moments made people very emotional. It was kind of wholesome. And that is weird, but beautiful. beautiful. This kid convinced an entire middle school that these mechanical pencils were collectibles. It started because his dad worked at an office supply company. So one day, this kid shows up to school with a box of mechanical pencils, and each mechanical pencil in this box was the exact same. He labeled each of these mechanical pencils in fine point Sharpie like this. 1 of 25. Then the next one, 2 of 25. Then the third one, 3 of 25, and so on. Each mechanical pencil looked the same, they just had a different number out of 25. He called this first batch Series 1, and one day he managed to sell all 25 of these pencils before lunch. Hey, my buddy said he got a pencil from you. You got any more? No, that's it. There's only 25. Wait till Series 2. So there, he's creating like demand. Limited supply. The next week, he starts Series 2, a box of 25 pencils, but this time a different pencil. Again, he sells out. One week, he released only 10, and students went crazy for him because there was less, and nobody used these pencils because they didn't want to ruin their value. People were trying to trade things and spend money to complete an entire set, but the most popular kid in the school had emerged. It was the kid who bought 1 of 25 of Series 1, and he said he was never selling. That's crazy. Every summer, this kid hosted the coolest bike ride in town. He would always spend the first part of summer memorizing whose houses were using their sprinklers and which sprinklers would spray onto the sidewalk. So every morning he would ride around and he would see whose sprinklers were on, and then around 2 in the afternoon he would send a big old group text. Ride leaves in 10. Pretty soon there'd be like 20 kids in front of his house with their bikes. This kid would strap a little Bluetooth speaker to his, you would hit play, and he would lead this group. So it's him and like 20 kids on bikes behind him. This whole ride was planned. He would take them right in front of the sprinkler houses so everyone would get cooled off. Then they would take a turn and dry off, then down a different street with more sprinklers. Kids were screaming, people were having a blast. It was a giant parade of bikes. Then after about a half an hour of riding through walls of sprinkled water, he would drive back to his house where his dad was set up with the grill making hot dogs. Everyone would leave their bikes on the lawn and they would sit, eat hot dogs, drink pop, and have a great time. He never charged a single penny for this water park neighborhood bike ride, but people loved it and it became a tradition. After a couple years, every house on the block put their sprinklers by the sidewalks to make it more fun for these kids. And that, my friends, is absolutely beautiful. He bullied the wrong kid. This bully started messing with one of the smaller kids by the lockers one day, talking trash and getting into his face. Nice hair, ginger boy. Trying to get a reaction, but the smaller kid ignored him. What, you got nothing to say? Then, out of nowhere, the smaller kid grabs the combination lock that's hanging off his locker, and he swings it across the bully's face. This kid's kind of bleeding a bit, he's crying, teacher comes running, but the smaller kid skipped off the class, and for some reason he did not get in trouble for this. Well, his next class was woodshop. After the bully got himself all cleaned up, he started to get mad again. Yeah, he got a cheap shot on me. I'm gonna find him. Oh, I'm gonna get him back. The bully then goes to this kid's woodshop class. And he walks in. He sees the small kid in the back corner working. Now, the small kid is working with 2x4s, planks of wood. Why the bully thought it would be a good idea to mess with him again, I don't know, but he does. Hey, you're freaking dead. Without reacting much, you guessed it, smacks him right across the face with a plank of wood. Kid freaks out again, starts crying. He's bleeding again. This time, they both get sent to the office, but the woodshop class had a ton of people say that this bully went to attack the small kid first. And if the small kid didn't defend himself, well, it would have been bad for him. The bully got expelled. Careful who you mess with. Bada bing, bada boom. Every kid has a moving out phase. On this day, this kid's mom was yelling at him, telling him to clean his room, eat his broccoli, normal stuff. But he got fed up. Fine, if my room is so messy, I'm moving out. And he expected his mom to cry and be like, no, don't move out, I'm so sorry. The mom just said, okay, the suitcase is in the attic. Suddenly, she called his bluff. Okay, I'm gonna go get it. He knows she called his bluff, but he wants to see how far he can take it, so he starts packing. Then suddenly, the mom is helping him pack. Oh, don't forget your toothbrush, honey. I'll even drive you to the end of the street if you want. I'll pack you a sandwich too, so you don't starve tonight. No, it's fine, I'll walk. Now, 5 minutes later, this kid's standing at the edge of the driveway with his suitcase full of random stuff his mom helped him pack. His mom locked the front door. Close the garage. Kid begins to walk away, hoping that they're watching him, hoping they'll beg for him to come back. But they don't. So he turns around, knocks on the door. Oh, hi, sweetie. Did you forget something? I don't want to move out, Mom. I'll clean my room. The room gets cleaned in record time. Has this ever happened to any of you guys? There was a kid at school named Max, and they called Max the raccoon. Yo, what's up? Because Max could find furniture anywhere. Didn't matter what it was. Gaming chairs, mini fridges, lamps, half a trampoline one time. And whenever someone asked where he got it, he would always say, the curb, or garbage can behind Jewel. Now behind the school was this tiny little forest area that students were technically banned from going into, which obviously made kids want to go in there more. But one day, Max decides, I'm gonna build a hangout in the woods. So at first, he drags out 2 lawn chairs and a milk crate. Then the next week, there's a couch and a rug. Then somehow, a standing lamp connected to a generator. Every day after school, this dude is dragging more and more furniture out to this hangout spot, and it's looking awesome. And kids began to hang out there every day. Portable speakers, Uno games, snacks, the mini fridge. By springtime, there was multiple couches, Christmas lights. It was a complete vibe. People would literally say, hey, you going to Max's place later? And by that, they meant the woods. Teachers had no idea this existed until one day a janitor went back there and discovered what looked like a fully furnished living room hidden behind the school in a patch of trees. He gets the principal walks back there. What is... Oh my God. He had everything removed. But he did say, that's impressive. And it was impressive. The school banned dodgeball because it was way too violent. Parents were complaining that their kids were getting hurt. So the gym teacher came up with a brand new game, a safer game. It's called complimentary catch. Everyone sits in a circle and tosses a foam ball around. When the ball gets to you, you have to give somebody else in the circle a compliment. Billy, I like your nose. The students gave it a shot, but eventually they were like, this is the dumbest thing ever. They lasted about 1 week until they had enough. One kid gathered some people. Guys, we're not doing this anymore. He rallied the entire grade to skip gym class the next day. And word spread like wildfire through the hallways. When gym period rolled around, not a single student showed up. All right, who's ready for some compliments? Where is everyone? At that very moment, practically every single student in the grade was out in the back field. They split into 2 massive teams, and they brought out all the dodgeballs. And they started the biggest dodgeball war that school had ever seen. It was beautiful. Kids were diving, dodging, launching balls from every direction. The principal and every single teacher made their way outside to see what was going on. And there's like 150 kids playing a huge game of dodgeball in rebellion. Everyone tried to blow their whistle. They tried to break this game up, but they couldn't. The dodgeball game lasted for an hour and a half. And when it finally ended, the students just walked back inside. And they accepted whatever punishment came their way. Next week, dodgeball was reintroduced back into gym time. That's crazy. This one skate park, everyone called this kid the professor. While the kids from the neighborhood were hitting the ramps, the professor was sitting at the side with a notebook and a pencil. He didn't even own a skateboard. He just sat there, measuring the incline of the death gap, a 10-foot jump over the staircase that was very difficult. Just a great angle, this one too. Then one day, the best skater in the neighborhood shows up. Let's call him Jackson. He was there to try to clear this death gap and make a name for himself in the neighborhood. I'm the best. I can do it. He tried 5 times. Every time, his board would scuff off and he would fall down. At this point, his elbows were bleeding and he was getting incredibly frustrated. Everyone watching was like, you're not gonna do it, man. You're still a good skater, though. Yeah, just give it up, Jackson. I'm gonna clear it. That's when the professor goes up to him. Hey, dude, you're actually approaching it from a completely different angle. If you hit it right here, just like that, I promise you'll clear the gap. The kid's just trying to help him. But Jackson says, shut up, dude. You don't even skate. I'm not gonna listen to you, loser. But Jackson had went over this jump thousands of times in his head. It's been in his notebook for days. He knows the angles. So he grabs Jackson's skateboard. Let me see this. He hops on, goes to the other end of the ramp, and he drops in. He's going. And he clears it. Whoa, he did it. Hey, nice work, man. What the heck? I told you, bro. If you listened to me, you could have had all the glory. But now, it's mine. Come on. Yeah, I'm awesome. The professor went home, and he never returned to that skate park again. And Jackson, that night, cried himself to sleep. And it's all because every neighborhood has that one house, yard where baseballs, frisbees, and dog toys go to die. The guy who lived there is creepy, angry, staring through the windows. Hey, go get the ball. Let's just go inside. Just like that, most kids accept the loss and they go buy a new one. But this one kid, he saw a gap in the market. What's up? He memorized the perimeter of this fenced yard. He knew the holes, the gaps, and he bought a very long pole. He has a 10-foot pole with a high grip claw at the end of it, and he started an extraction service. He pulls up with his bike and the pole like it's a jousting stick. All right, what is it? Baseball? Frisbee? It's my dog's favorite beaver toy. Okay, do you know where it is? No. That's fine. I'll use my drone. He had a drone with a camera so he could see above the yard to where the thing that needs to be extracted is, and then he would get to work. Okay, it's at this corner right here. I have the pole. Go through the gap. Is he watching? No. Got it. But he didn't do it for free. Depending on where in the yard it was, it could be $5, $10, or if the old man was right there watching, $20 because of the risk. But people usually paid. He didn't make bank, per se, but he made some good money, and he was a hero to a lot of neighborhood kids. One month he made $100 just by getting things that people were too scared to get themselves. I'd say it's a fair business, because there's no way the old man would ever give those things back, because he's just crazy like that. And so I say, gotta respect the hustle. This kid ran a crazy summer hustle. His neighbor's name was Mr. Henderson. I'm Mr. Henderson. And he had just left for a 2-week camping trip, but he left his in-ground pool unattended. Most kids would sneak over for a quick dip, but this guy had a different idea. He turned his neighbor's backyard into a literal water park, and he charged every kid on the block $5 for a day pass. Step right up, water park day pass is $5. And people were paying. It was immediately a full-blown operation. There was a cooler full of sodas, there were folding chairs everywhere, and the front yard was a pile of bikes. And these two guys were by the gate, collecting $5 bills. On day 4, the party was at its peak. 15 kids in the backyard. Cannonballs. Marco Polo. Some dude fired up Mr. Henderson's grill and was making hot dogs. Then, Mr. Henderson shows up. What in God's name is going on back here? You see, obviously, one of the other neighbors called Mr. Henderson to let him know what was going on. So he came back from his trip super early. Backyard was dead silent. But what Mr. Henderson did, nobody expected. You, come here. Yes? Listen. I'm going back camping, okay? You can stay here as long as you clean up every day, and by the time I get back, it needs to be spotless. You understand? Oh, yeah. Stay out of my house, too, but have fun. And that was that. For the rest of the 2 weeks, those kids had the most fun they've ever had on a summer break. And yeah, that sounds awesome. Nothing is worse than being grounded in the last week of summer. Ryan's entire friend group had been together since kindergarten. But tomorrow, more than half of them were going to a different high school. So they were going to be split up. And this night was their last hurrah. It was the goodbye. But Ryan's mom didn't care about this. She cared that Ryan forgot to take the trash out on Wednesday. I don't care if it's an end of an era, Ryan. You showed lack of responsibility. You are not going to that bonfire. The bonfire was the event. Cross town at one of the buddies' houses. So that night, Ryan sat at his window, watching the group chat blow up with pictures of s'mores, the bonfire, smiling and laughing faces. It was the night his childhood was ending. He thought it was over, until he hears people talking outside of his house. What? He looks out and he sees Cam and his entire group of friends pulling lawn chairs out of Cam's dad's truck. All right, guys, grab them all. I got mine. Yeah, me too. They set up a portable grill in Ryan's driveway. They all sat around it, and they began roasting marshmallows. What are you guys doing? If you can't come to the fire, we're bringing the fire to you. So Ryan goes down there, and he joins them. Not long after, his mom comes out, and she's angry. But just as she's about to snap, a minivan pulls up, and one of the kid's parents comes out. They're not there to pick up the kid. They're there to join. Oh, hey, Carla. Steven said that you were having a bonfire in the driveway. We're here to join you. So, to not look like a horrible mother, she just said, yeah, grab a seat. I'll go get some drinks for us. And just like that, 10 kids, 6 parents, and a golden retriever all hanging out in her driveway. And she realized she wasn't just about to be a strict mom. She was about to be the person that ruined these kids' summer. The last one they'll get like this. The night ended, the kids said their goodbyes, they went their separate ways. And that just proves it. When the group is strong enough, not even the grounding of the century could stop the party. It's beautiful. Hector's driving to work one morning when he sees something on his dashboard. It's a jumping spider, and Hector does not do spiders. So immediately he's freaking out. The car's swerving. It's dangerous. He's trying to keep one eye on the road and one eye on this thing. Then the spider disappears somewhere in the windshield. He's gone. For now. The next morning, Hector gets in the car to go to work, and the spider's back. This time, Hector kind of sighs. He's like, all right, Just stay there, okay? And weirdly, after a while, he gets used to it. That spider's there every morning. Oh, hey, morning, buddy! Sometimes on the dash, sometimes on the radio knob, and eventually Hector starts talking to it on his way to work. Man, it's good to see you today. I didn't sleep well last night, but I think with some coffee I'll be good. If traffic was bad, look at this idiot! That's what I'm saying! If he's late, we're not gonna make it on time today, buddy. At one point, Hector doesn't see him for a few days. He gets worried, but then he pops back up. Okay, there you are! I missed you! Now it's a part of the routine. It's been about a week since he met the spider. And it's his buddy now. One day, he's driving his wife to work. She gets in the car, and she sees the spider. All right, let's go. Ah! Oh, no, that's just... Ew! Don't worry, he's dead now. His wife just killed his best friend, and he's actually devastated. The ride to church is pretty quiet. His wife finally says, "Are you seriously mad at me right now?" And he just cries. "You rode with me every single day this past week. He was my best friend. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace." Man, that's sad. Mr. Gene was a creepy teacher. Big guy, super weird energy, and he had bottles and bottles of Febreze behind his desk. And I guess he had a very strong nose as well, because he took it very personally when someone would come to class smelling bad. If he didn't like the way someone smelled, they would sit down and he would Febreze the air. Well, one day class started normally. He was teaching like normal.
The Industrial Revolution was one of the greats.
He locked eyes with this one kid. He didn't like what he smelled, so he grabbed the Febreze bottle. He marched right over to this kid. "Can I help you?" And Mr. Gene just sprayed over and over and over for like 15 seconds. This kid didn't know what to do, so he's just sitting there getting drenched in Febreze. "Please stop."
Smell better next time.
Turns around, goes to the front of the class, and begins teaching again like nothing happened. Crazy part is that teacher taught for another 5 years before he retired. I don't know how he wasn't fired. Every winter, this one patch of ice formed outside the side entrance of the school, and nobody ever salted it. And kids figured out something fast. If you hit it at full speed and land just right, you'll just keep on sliding. It was this long stretch that if executed properly, kids could just slide for what seemed like ever. Groups of people were doing it every morning. Yo! A pile of backpacks here and a line of kids here. It wasn't easy. Some kids wiped out. Some kids went pretty far. Well, one kid showed up who took it way too seriously. Before and after school, he shows up with 2 of his biggest buddies. And if somebody wanted to slide on this ice, they had to give him something. "What you got?" "Well, you're in my math class. I'll give you the answer to tomorrow's homework." Deal. He would then let them go and mark down how far they went. 15 feet, 18 feet, 25 feet. Now, everyone's showing up with offerings to get in line to try to beat the best record. This kid's getting tons of snacks, homework answers, random items. That's when one angry janitor sees what's going on, and he's like, "Oh, I can't have this." So every morning he begins salting it. That forgotten ice patch was no more. But for that time, it was awesome. Younger siblings, am I right? This guy had a younger brother, and his younger brother always won. Didn't matter what happened. If they fought, he would get blamed. If something broke, he would get blamed. Parents always hit him with, "You're older. You should know better." The younger brother figured this out fast, so he started using it to his advantage. He would start trouble, poking at him, annoying him, messing with his stuff. The second the older brother reacted, "Dude, get out of here, what's your problem?" He would just scream, "Mom!" And then the older brother gets in trouble over and over and over again. So eventually this kid decides, all right, that's enough. Because no matter what happens, he gets punished. So he's at least gonna get a little bit of revenge. He waited until nighttime and he went into the bathroom that he shares with his little brother. He takes the toothbrush and he puts soap all inside the bristles. He then lets it kind of dry and puts it back in the cabinet. Well, when his brother brushed his teeth that night, it tastes weird, it tastes weird. He's spitting toothpaste everywhere, but his parents are annoyed. They're like, "Dude, just brush your teeth. Quit being a baby. Your toothbrush is fine. It's normal toothpaste." "No, I can't. It's disgusting." "Stop being dramatic." And yes, it was simple, but the noise of his brother getting yelled at, even for something so stupid as that, made him happy. This makes me happy. And he slept well that night. This teacher was the strictest in the school. No phones, no talking, and absolutely no food. But then one morning, before class, she saw a single flaming hot Cheeto perfectly taped to the middle of her desk. What is this? She peeled the snack off, put it in the garbage, and monitored the room incredibly well that day. Nobody came forward. The next day, another Cheeto, taped with a single piece of Scotch tape on the pencil sharpener. Another one. The next day, another one taped the back of her chair. The day after that, it was taped to her escape key on her keyboard. What is going on? She had no idea who was doing this, and it was messing with her badly. So she went to the school principal and the people in charge. And they're like, okay, settle down, it's just Cheeto, but I'll make an announcement. The principal was young and new, and he was about to make a major mistake. Good morning, students. Whoever keeps taping single hot Cheetos to things in Mrs. Gable's room, please stop. Uh-oh. He made that announcement to a middle school. What happened next? Dozens of students thought it was hilarious and started doing the exact same thing. There was flamin' hot Cheetos taped everywhere. Library books, school trophy case, the gym scoreboard. So the school tried to kill this joke for Mrs. Gable, but instead they accidentally started a cult, the taped hot Cheeto cult. And there was nothing they could do about it. The only thing that kills a trend is time, and it took some time. This kid's not all there. I'm thirsty. But he wanted to focus really hard on this spelling test. He didn't want to be distracted by taking a sip of water or asking to go get some. So this is his brilliant idea. He went to the water fountain before class. He got a very big gulp of water and left it in his mouth. He heard that this is what the squirrels do. They put nuts in their mouth and they save them for later. Well, that was his idea, but with water. So now he's sitting in class. The teacher's naming the words, and he's writing the spelling down with a bunch of water in his mouth. All right, class, your next word is fortitude. His plan was to take small, tiny gulps throughout the test, so he never went thirsty. Well, about 2 minutes into the test, his cheeks give way, and a bunch of water just falls right on his desk. The test and the desk were soaked. Water was now spilling on the floor, and other kids noticed. The teacher walks over. Why is there a bunch of water on your desk and the floor? The kid didn't know how to respond, so he just looks her in the eyes and said, I have no idea. The teacher was so confused by that answer that she just walked away. No more questions were asked. He failed that spelling test. What? My home office has a window, and it directly faces my neighbor's living room window, 3 feet away. That was Toby. And for 6 months, Toby has not worked a single day without being watched. Every morning at 9 a.m. as Toby's sitting down at his desk to begin his work from home assignments, a tabby cat named Barnaby would take his position in his neighbor's living room windowsill, directly across from Toby. And the cat wouldn't sleep. He would just stare at Toby, right in his eyes, every day. It kind of creeped him out. It was this cat's routine. Well, by month 3, Toby kind of snapped. He decided if the cat wanted a show, he was gonna give him a show. It started with Toby finding a video titled Video for Cats, and he turned it around and faced it right towards Barnaby. Well, Barnaby wasn't impressed. The next day, Tony danced for Barnaby. It wasn't good, but he danced. Barnaby perked up. You could tell. He was responding to this. Well, the next day he put on a puppet show. I'm a puppet. Me too! Oh look, there's a cat! Now I also want to mention that Barnaby was an indoor-outdoor cat. One night as Toby was going to the store, he opens his front door and he sees a dead mouse sitting there on his porch. He got rid of the mouse, but every day after that, he kept receiving more and more items. A neighbor's gardening glove, a Hanes sock, a literal $1 bill. So he installed a camera doorbell to see what was going on, and he found the culprit. It was Barnaby, leaving gifts for Toby every night. It was like he was paying him for this entertainment he's been receiving. And ever since that day, Toby and Barnaby were best friends. Barnaby always sat in that opposite windowsill. Toby was always at his desk working, until one day Barnaby wasn't there. Toby was concerned. The next day, again, Barnaby, nowhere to be seen. So he goes over to his neighbor's house, knocks on the door. Barnaby had passed away. And Toby was heartbroken. Rest in peace, Barnaby. His teacher absolutely hated mayonnaise. It's the worst! Like, it was a phobia. One day the class is talking about things that they don't like. Kids are saying bugs, spiders, snakes. And the teacher says, well, mine is kind of weird. I hate mayonnaise. The smell makes me sick. Everybody laughs. Hee hee ha ha. Class moves on. Except one kid becomes weirdly obsessed with this information. Mrs. Johnson hates mayonnaise, huh? The next day he walks into that class carrying a full jar of mayonnaise. He sits down and just sets it right on his desk. Doesn't say a word. The teacher notices this, but she ignores it. She figures this kid's just trying to mess with me. I'm not even gonna put any energy into it. But then he does it again the next day, and the day after that. Every morning, that mayonnaise jar is just sitting on his desk right next to his notebook, staring at the teacher. Now, after days of completely ignoring this mayonnaise thing, teacher finally breaks. Okay, I have to ask, why do you keep bringing mayonnaise into my classroom? He looks up and in complete seriousness, he says, because one day, miss, I'm gonna drown you in mayonnaise. Now, the kid didn't actually end up drowning her in mayonnaise, but he did keep bringing that jar to school, and she kept having to look at it. It was there in that classroom every day for the rest of the year. When he was 10, his grandpa asked him, "What do you want for your birthday?" And he says, "A brick." "A brick? Why?" "Because my parents still have this super old TV. If I throw a brick at the TV, we'll have to get a new one." Oh, I'm just kidding. Maybe just some Pokemon cards or something. The grandpa just smiles and nods. A couple months later, this kid's birthday comes around, and there's a beautifully wrapped present on the table. Heavy, perfect corners. The kid opens it. Inside was a single brick. The grandpa's losing it. "You're crazy. I can't believe you remembered." And the grandpa leans in and says real quiet to him, "Wait till your mom's in the kitchen and then waste the TV." So the kid's mom goes into the kitchen to grab the cake. The kid takes the brick, smashes it in the TV. TV is destroyed. "What happened here? Now we gotta get a new TV." Yes. The grandpa took the blame for throwing the brick at the TV. "I don't know why I did that." Then the kid says, "It's okay, Mom. Please don't be mad at Grandpa. I'll help you pick out the new TV." "Okay, fine. You're right." "It's okay, Pops. You'll be okay. Just sit down and relax. I'll clean this up." The mom then leaves to grab the broom. "Nice work, kid. I love you, Grandpa." What a nice story. It's 2 weeks till senior graduation. That kid decides he's gonna pull a prank that nobody will ever forget. Most senior pranks involve balloons, sticky notes, baby oil. Well, this dude somehow gets his hands on an actual beehive. It was in my backyard. I put it in the trash bag. And his genius plan is to bring it to school and release it. Okay, well, that's actually so dangerous. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the punchline's supposed to be here. Kid with a bee allergy having to be taken to the hospital? Who knows? He ties up the garbage bag that the beehive's in and he throws it over his shoulder. And he gets on the bus, mister. He's thrown on the bus, everything's fine at first. Then a kid noticed a bee. "Oh God, there's a bee in here." Then there was another one. "Oh God, there's another bee in here." Then another, then another, then another. The senior kid is like, "Oh my God!" The bees had buzzed their way through this garbage bag, and now the beehive is open. The next 30 seconds were complete and utter craziness. Kids screaming, people hiding underneath the bus seats, but everybody was getting stung. And yes, there were kids in the bus that were allergic to bees, and yes, they had to go to the hospital. The funny part is, when the bus driver first noticed all these bees, he put the bus in park and left the bus. But then he realized he's in charge of these kids. "I gotta go back." And he drives the bus to a nearby hospital, and they take it from there. But they found out who brought the beehive in, and he wasn't able to graduate. But that makes sense, because what a dumb prank. I don't feel good. Puke somewhere else. It's finals week, and the hallways are dead silent during class. Everyone's either taking tests or they're doing reviews. Well, on this particular day, this one kid had not felt good. His stomach feels weird. He's nauseous. By midday, he's pale, and he can't hold it in anymore. So he sprints out of the classroom to the bathroom. He turns the corner to the nearest bathroom, and the janitor cart is parked right there. One bathroom is locked, and the other one is blocked. "I gotta throw up," he said. "Throw up somewhere else," the janitor replies. He tries to slip past him. "No, stay back." Now he's panicking, but he sees the garbage bag hanging off the janitor's cart, so he decides he's just gonna throw up in there. But the janitor says, "Shoo, get out of here." And that's it. Kid just steps back, looks at the floor in front of him, and pukes all over it. He then backs up a bit and pukes more. Now he's leaving this like puke trail as he's stepping back. When he's done, he wipes his face and he looks at the janitor and says, "Well, looks like you're gonna have to clean that up, huh?" And the janitor is mad. But there's nothing he can do because he's the one that refused this kid a safe, clean toilet to throw up in. So now that's what he gets. Top 3 pettiest teachers. Number 3. There was a teacher that gave detention for somebody sneezing twice. The first time it was, bless you. The second time, okay, now you're just messing with me. Detention after school today. It was allergy season too, so for the rest of the week, these kids were fighting for their lives. Well, one day at the end of class, this teacher had a sneezing fit. All right, and oh, Miss Johnson, that's 3 sneezes. I guess that means you're suspended, huh? She never gave someone detention for sneezing again. Number 2, this one teacher right before class started one day moved the clock 10 minutes back just because she wanted to disappoint these kids when they started packing up at what they thought was the end of class. All right, you got a couple minutes left. I'm so hyped for lunch. Why are you boys packing up? Oh, miss, we only got 2 minutes of class left. Somebody check their phone. What the heck? That's right, I tampered with the clock. We have 10 minutes. It's time for group reading. That's just diabolical. Number 1 pettiest teacher. There was a teacher who failed the kid for using blue ink on a test. The problem was, she was the same teacher that lent him the pen. So you see, a kid forgot one. He asked, "Yo, can I borrow something for the test?" "Sure, here you go." She gave him a blue pen. Well, you see, in the syllabus, she had a rule where you weren't allowed to take a test with a blue pen. It had to be black. So he finishes the test, hands it in, and gets a 0. That teacher just wanted him to fail. And that's messed up. In most classrooms, misbehavior gets you a warning or a detention. Well, back in the 80s, it was something completely different. In this classroom, any deviation from the system, like talking too much or misbehaving, throwing stuff, spitballs, it required a physical debt. "Hey, Kyle, spitball!" The teacher didn't make them sit in the corner or put a goofy hat on. Next to his desk on the floor laid a sheet of coarse sandpaper. One mistake, you had to get up there and kneel down on the sandpaper. And you weren't just kneeling, you were working. You had to stay in that exact position while your knees grinded onto the grit while you had to write massive amounts of words. And what you normally did is there were a list of 30 words, and you had to write each word 10 times. The punishment was designed to make them try to write fast, because the longer you took to write these words, the longer you had to kneel. It's actually incredibly horrifying, and it would completely not fly today. I can't believe that's what they did back then. Eventually, they stopped doing that, thank God. But that teacher never got in trouble because, well, it was the 80s. Top 3 principals on a power trip. Number 1, this principal banned all backpacks because the hallways were messy and crowded. So now kids had to carry classes worth of stuff in their arms all day. Folders ripping open, papers on the floor. Meanwhile, this principal still walks around with her leather briefcase. Oh, pardon me. Pardon me. Became such an issue, parents kept calling the school asking why backpacks weren't allowed. After a few days, so many kids started asking the principal about her briefcase that the rule died. The next one, this principal was tired of students being late to first period, so he forced every single teacher to lock every single classroom door the second the bell rings. And if you don't do it, there's gonna be problems. Didn't matter if it was raining outside or if your bus was late. If you weren't there before the bell, you weren't getting into class, and you had to go to the office. One morning, a school board member showed up for a surprise visit, and when she walked through the hallways, she saw tons of students banging on their classroom doors trying to get in. What is going on here? Number 1, there was a principal who decided students were too loud during lunch, so he made the cafeteria completely silent, and detentions were handed out to anyone that spoke even one word. Milk? Detention! Hundreds of kids eating in total silence. It was completely insane, until one day this kid brought a whoopee cushion. He thought it would be funny to prank his friend during silent lunch, so his friend sits down. It was a slow, loud whoopee cushion fart. Everyone was silent for a few seconds after that. Then they just burst out laughing. Even the principal. Okay, we can talk again. I guess all it took was some light-hearted fart joke to turn the mean old man into a softie again. The principal's toupee gets stolen during school. And within minutes, everybody knows, and everybody's joking about it. Dude, Mr. Killman looks so dumb. Kids were whispering in the hallways, even teachers were trying not to laugh. And whenever he walks down the hallway, people pull their phones out to record him. He's humiliated. He's trying to act normal, but he's falling apart like a sad little puppy. And for a second, you almost feel bad for him. But then you remember, yesterday he called you into his office. He thought you were involved in a fight that you weren't involved in. So you're in there, and he's just going in. Now, don't you lie to me. I know you were involved in this. You're a horrible student. I knew the second that you got here, you were gonna cause trouble. And I bet your grades suck, don't they? Let's look them up. You know what? I'm not gonna look them up. I'm just gonna send you home to your horrible mom. You know, she was in my class when I taught here years ago, and she was horrible then too. Get out of here. Pretty brutal. And here's one more thing. You know exactly where the toupee is, because you saw the kid that stole it. He secretly hid it behind the trophy case. Nobody else knew. And that kid is definitely not coming forward, so now it's only you. You could grab it, hand it back to him, be the bigger man, and maybe the principal will treat you differently, or you could destroy the toupee and let him be humiliated for the rest of the day. What would you do? All right, class, first we dissect, then eat. This biology teacher had a side job as a chef, and apparently he was pretty good. Well, the kids in his biology class would frequently have these days, dissection days, where you would dissect frogs, cats, I don't know. But most of the time, the teacher would order a bunch of squid from the local market. The squid would be thawed out, raw, and passed out to every student. All right, you should all have a worksheet and a squid. You have 25 minutes. Get to dissect it. Everybody would dissect the squids. They would use the ink to write messages to each other. It sounds kind of fun if you like that kind of stuff. But then the teacher would do something different. He would pull out a George Foreman portable grill from underneath his desk, plug it in, and preheat that baby. Then he would collect all these squids from each lab table, bring them up, season them, and toss them on the grill. Oh, it's smelling good. The first time he did this, the students thought he was absolutely insane. They're like, there's no way we're gonna eat that. But then someone tried it. Wait, that's actually good. Let me try. That is good. I guess the way he cooked this squid was just delectable, and they were constantly looking forward to these days. And although it sounds weird, I think that's a good teacher. They had a substitute teacher, and Henry was sitting in the back of the classroom. He was minding his business. And the substitute came in that day strict for no reason. He scanned the classroom, and he saw Henry in the back. He sees two small devices in Henry's ears. Hey, you! Give me those headphones now. Okay. He didn't argue, he just handed over the devices. The substitute then took these, put it in the drawer, and began teaching. About 10 minutes later, he needed a volunteer. Okay, one of you come up here. You know what? How about you? In the back. Henry. No response. Since you wanted to listen to music all class, why don't you come up here and help me? Still nothing. He then lost it and walked straight to Henry. Hi, hello? Why are you ignoring me? Oh, you were talking to me? Yes. I'm sorry, I can't understand you, sir. You made me give you my hearing aids. This dude had confiscated Henry's medical necessity, and boy, did he feel stupid about that. Well, why didn't you tell me? I don't know, you seemed real strict about it. He returned the hearing aids right then and there, but he never returned to that school. Yeah, I wouldn't either. This kid went to a Catholic school in Florida. Florida. And if you've ever been to Florida, you know that there are lizards everywhere. On walls, sidewalks, just chilling by the pool. It's a lovely day. So one day, this little lizard gets inside this school building. It's in a classroom. And everyone's freaking out for some reason. The teacher's consistently saying, "Nobody touch it! Nobody touch it!" And this one kid thought she was scared. That's why she was saying it. So he chased the lizard around. He picked it up. He caught it. "Don't worry, miss. I got it. I'll go put him outside." The teacher then gets really weird. Oh, you shouldn't have touched the lizard. Why? You just invited the devil into your soul. That's funny. No, I'm serious. Get in the hall. She then sends this kid out into the hallway and calls this nun to come up. The nun then takes him to the chapel part of school where she prayed over him for the rest of the day. And this kid is sitting there. The nun also made the kid watch her kill the lizard with a cross. I'm not sure what kind of Florida Catholic school this is, but that's crazy! For some reason, in the middle of class, he pulled out a classical guitar, and he began playing classical guitar music in front of everybody. He was probably trying to show off his guitar skills in front of the students. Well, some kid in the back was whispering during it. "Dude, last weekend was so freaking fun. That squirrel was awesome." Well, Mr. Thorne heard this. It was during the most delicate part of the song. He took a guitar, and he threw it right at this kid. It hit the wall and shattered. The guitar was expensive too, and the teacher just broke it. Everyone was stunned. Mr. Thorne then began to walk to the back of the classroom towards the kid. Mr. Thorne then reached down, grabbed the metal legs of the desk, and flipped the desk with the kid still in it. The kid was now pinned under the desk, and he was crying. The rest of the class still stunned. Mr. Thorne then walked back to the front of the room, looked at everybody and said, "Page 42, now." And he expected everyone was just gonna do it. But no, the kid who was flipped walked out, got the principal came, and Mr. Thorne was fired. And yeah, that makes perfect sense. It snowed heavily overnight. It's now early morning, and this retired guy is snow blowing his driveway. Milk, milk, milk. He clears his driveway, then he does his neighbors to the left, and then his neighbors to the right. He usually does those just as a neighborly friendly thing because they're also old. He parks the machine, goes inside, and puts on The Sopranos. Hey, gabagool. Tony's gabagool. The doorbell rings. He opens it, and it's a woman from like 5 doors down. She just moved in. Hi, why haven't you done our driveway yet? I'm gonna be late for work. I saw you do these two. When's ours gonna be done? Ma'am, this is not a service. I do a favor for these two because they're old, like me, but I still got my good knees. I'm sorry. You would think she'd be like, oh my gosh, how dumb of me. How dare I assume that you're gonna do our driveway? But no. Well, we're your neighbors too. Can you please snow blow our driveway? He's standing there, appalled. No. Slams the door in her face, goes back to his chair, and presses play to resume The Sopranos. It's Tony Soprano. Gabagool. That lady's out of her mind. This English teacher was super chill. Okay guys, late homework can be turned in at any time up until the last week of school. Dude, that's awesome. You can turn your homework in up until the last week of school, and I'll take no points off. He figured that this would encourage students to just do their homework at their own pace and do it well. Well, one kid takes advantage of this situation. He doesn't turn in homework all year. Weeks pass, then months. The teacher assumes this kid just dropped the ball and that he's not going to turn it in ever. Until the final week of school. He brings a stack of worksheets and essays to this teacher's desk. And I mean stacks. Oh, right here you go. Yo, what is this? It's late homework. Remember what you said? I also emailed you 6 of the book reports, so those should be in your inbox now. All right, thanks, Teach. I hate my life. So now this teacher, on the last week of school, has to grade a crap ton of homework. It's the last thing he wants to do. Oh, I am never doing this ever again. The next year, all right, guys, welcome to class. Homework is due when it's due. There is no exceptions for late work. Dang. That kid ruined it for everybody. The biggest loss of aura in school history. This kid built his whole reputation off of basketball. He wasn't on the team, but he would always say he was really good. He carried a basketball around with him everywhere. Hey, what's up, guys? At lunch or in class, whenever he was chilling, he would be spinning the ball on his finger. Yo, check this out. Cool, huh? And people did think it was cool. And he would always say, oh, I don't want to be on the basketball team. Too much commitment. I just play in my backyard. Oh, okay. Yeah. The team is trash though anyway. Then the pep rally comes up. The principal goes, alrighty students, now it's time for the free throw challenge. Let's get somebody who's not on the team up here. See what you can do. And everybody volunteers this kid. Hey, come on, man. He'll do it. Yeah, he'll totally do it. The entire school knows him, so the entire gym is cheering so loudly. This kid gets up there. He's already got a basketball with him. Right. Takes his first shot. And he misses. Crowd's like, what? He brushes it off. It's a joke. It's a joke. Give me the ball. Misses again. And again. And again. He can't make one hoop. Now the cheers stopped. And the laughing began. Everyone's yelling at him, calling him a fraud, calling him a loser. Dude, you actually suck. He sucks. Kid begins crying. He was all talk. Forever. Everyone thought he was a basketball god. Turns out, he's trash. He runs out of the gym, and he never comes to school with a basketball ever again. I was afraid to fall asleep in class, and this story is exactly why. This person starts by saying that Mr. Vance was a super chill teacher. What's up, class? Let's learn some history. He spent most of class leaning against the wall, talking about history like it was a bonfire story. Kids loved him, but he also kept a wooden paddle hanging on the wall right next to the whiteboard. No, it wasn't for hitting students. Why'd he have the paddle, you ask? Well, it was for situations like this. One day, this kid named Tyler, he had pulled an all-nighter. He had tons of homework to finish, and no matter how hard he tried to stay awake, he couldn't. The teacher clocked it. He then stopped teaching, went to the paddle, and walked by this kid's desk. And the kids in Tyler's row knew the drill. They all got everything off their desks and they kind of scooted back. The teacher then took that paddle and as hard as he possibly could, he smacked it on the desk right next to Tyler. And it was so loud. And Tyler didn't just startle awake. He hopped about 5 feet in the air. The teacher then went right back to teaching. Hey, stay awake. All right, class. And boy, is that the worst. Now, my teachers didn't have a paddle, but they would just take their hand and I would never sleep. The senior prank was to fork the lawn, which means sticking forks all over the school's lawn. You see, at this one particular school, they used real silverware, and the seniors have been planning it for a long time. All right, guys, we have 3 months. Whenever you get the chance, steal a fork. You got it, Johnny. Brilliant plan, old chap. Every lunch period, they would be taking these forks secretly. They were doing it slowly, so it seemed like a natural disappearance of silverware. But by the end of spring, the seniors had hundreds of forks. And no other class knew. Then, the night before their last day of school, they came to campus. Quiet. And they took all of these forks and they shoved them into the lawn, evenly spread apart. And there were so many forks. By the time they were done, the grass looked like it had grown metal hair. It's beautiful. Bro, take that wig off. And the next day, administration went crazy. And the thing was, there was only one custodian left for that school year. This older guy. My name's Mr. Johnny. Hey, Mr. Johnny, can you please pull these forks out of the lawn? I don't want anybody tripping. Oh, okay. And then there he was, down on his hands and knees, pulling these forks out of the grass, hundreds of them. Bending, sweating, he's working alone. A teacher finally came in to try to help him. Hey, Mr. Johnny, you can... That's when he saw his face. Mr. Johnny was crying. Thank you. That prank then went down in school history, but nobody ever talked about the guy that had to clean it all up. Hey, respect Mr. Johnny. It started over a jelly donut. No, that's my donut. I bought it. It was the last one. Yeah, but I was technically in line before you. Yeah, but then you went to the bathroom because you had to take a dump. Steven, you told her? It's the truth. They argue and argue. They start shoving. Then the donut drops on the floor and somebody steps on it. It's no good. It turned into this big thing. Apparently, the school had began picking sides. Nobody even knows what it's about. So now it's two large groups of people. At the front are the two girls, and they just start brawling. And the kids who aren't involved are just watching, like, dude, this is messed up, we gotta leave. Okay, let's go. Well, as those two try to leave the cafeteria, two plainclothes cops come in. You're not going anywhere. Nobody's going anywhere. But by this point, it was out of control. The large fighting crowd makes its way outside, and now they're fighting in front of the school. Hundreds of kids shouting, fighting, people recording it. The security guard gets knocked over. Ouch! Ouch! Somebody pulls the frickin' fire alarm, and that's when it happens. Like 10 cop cars just storm in. They get out of their car. They're wearing helmets and shields, and that's when all the students realized, oh, we should probably stop. But everyone that was involved in the fighting got into huge trouble. Let's just say for the next week, attendance was very low. There's a big difference between Oak Street and Oak Avenue, and it changed this one kid's life. He was told to meet at this house for a study group. The address was 124 Oak Avenue, but when he put it in his GPS, he put 124 Oak Street, which is a completely different house. Pulled up, he went to the door and he knocked. Oh, you must be one of the neighbor boys. Come on in, this old lady answered. Kid's like, this doesn't seem like my study group. And it wasn't, but he just went along with it. Have a seat, I'm making cookies. Oh, okay. He sits down, she pours him a glass of milk, and he had a bite of a cookie. This is the best cookie I've ever had. Glad you like it. And they sat there for an hour and a half, just chatting. She told him stories about being in school in the 50s and their school dances. He even pulled out his book and studied there for a bit. It was productive, and him and this grandma lady connected. You see, this woman lived alone. Her grandchildren had all graduated and moved out of the town. She was lonely, and this kid's grandma had passed away 2 years ago. So it was like a connection. Are you sure you've had enough food? Yes, it was delicious, and thanks for helping me study. Of course. Come back whenever. And he did. Once a month, he would go over there for cookies and a study session. And he realized a $3,000 earring just sank to the bottom of a swimming pool. It was a July heat wave. The water at the public pool was cloudy. The deep end was super deep. Even the lifeguards were afraid. And at the bottom of the pool was now this girl's very expensive earring. Somebody help me, somebody help me. That's when everybody turned to this kid who was sitting in a chair playing with a ladybug. Do something. Do something, Bug. You see, they called this kid Gills because every day in the summer he would play in pool water and he would drink it. Don't ask him, dude. He's super weird. Yeah, but bro, if somebody could do it, it's Gills. Gills never used goggles. He said he could sense his surroundings through his fingertips. So they asked him, hey, Gills, yabo, we need your help, man. That girl lost a $3,000 earring. It's at the bottom of the deep end. And Gills did not hesitate. I'm on it. He dives right in. 1 minute passed, then 2. The snack bar worker paused the music. The crowd went dead silent. Everyone was waiting for Gills' lifeless body to float to the surface, when suddenly, a hand comes right out of the water, holding the earring. Oh my god! Here's your earring! I also found a hot dog down there. Free food! He ate the hot dog and sat back down with the ladybug. That day, the nickname Gills stopped being an insult. He was kind of a legend. And it all started because this kid got his invisibility cloak stolen. There was this one kid at this one school who wore a neon construction vest every day. It wasn't for hunting. He thought it made him invisible. One day he's walking through the hallway wearing the vest like usual. And this bigger kid just rips it off of him. Now, you see, usually most people let this kid vibe because obviously he knew it didn't make him invisible, but it made him feel better. But anyway, so it was stolen off his back, and he felt like he had been exposed to the world for the first time. He won't move, and kids are walking around him. He's legitimately stuck because in his mind, without that vest, he is visible and vulnerable. So this one janitor sees what's going on. He walks straight up to this bully. Hey! Holds out his hand. The bully tries to laugh it off, but this janitor doesn't blink. He just stares him down until the bully gives the vest back. The janitor hands it back to the kid. The kid puts it on and walks away. And just like that, he was invisible once again. When she was a teenager, her dad was driving her to work at Dairy Queen. They're in the car. All right, sweetie, this is gonna be a good day. Ugh, I hate working. It's a normal ride so far. Then, out of nowhere, this woman cuts them off on the road. Most people just honk and then move on, but not this dad. He locks in and he chases her down. They finally get to this red light. He pulls up to the right of her. Rolls his window down, and leaps out of the car right under her windshield. Apologize to me right now! Apologize to me right now! Screaming, flailing, right on her windshield. Now, he didn't put the car in park, so you know when you're not driving, the car just goes by itself very slowly. So this girl is in the car, her dad's on somebody else's car, and the car is just rolling slowly into the intersection. So she has to put her foot over the driver's seat and press the gas herself. Once her dad calms down, he gets back in the car and drives her to work like nothing happened. Have a good day, sweetie. Later that night, when everybody's home, they get a knock on the door while they're watching TV. I'll get it. It's the police. Hi, is your dad home? Dad, you're going to jail. And he was arrested. Makes sense. This teacher is insane for this. This class had just finished reading Lord of the Flies in English. And the teacher? She was passionate, maybe too passionate. So after they had finished reading this Lord of the Flies, the next day she tells them this. Class, we are going into the woods tomorrow. Bring a backpack full of things. We're gonna live like the boys on the island. So next day they come with backpacks full of stuff and they head to the woods. No rules, no roles, just chaos. She hands them bandanas and points to the woods behind the school. All right, go. One teacher and 20 students. And these weren't just regular kids. Somebody brought a pillowcase full of flour and was whacking people with it. Another kid filled a spray bottle with perfume and was spraying another kid's eyes, trying to blind them. Take that. Soon there was turf wars, alliances, groups getting ambushed. Kids were using mud as war paint. They were getting feral, and the teacher was just standing there at the edge of the woods watching this go down like it's some sort of social experiment. Yes. 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 And it went way too far. Kids were getting bloody noses, one person was throwing up profusely, I don't know why, and the teacher didn't get in trouble for this, not even like a warning or anything. The principal didn't even know about any of this until a parent called a couple days later, but he still did nothing. And the crazy part is, the next year, this teacher did the same exact thing. Honestly, that sounds kind of fun. Yo, I got a shortcut. Through there? So after school one day, this kid swears he found a shortcut home. He's pointing to this giant cornfield like, trust me, it's way faster. Now, a bunch of kids are skeptical. Bro, that's not a path. That's just corn. But half the group follows him anyways. At first, it's funny. They're laughing, they're pushing through the corn stalks, they're making jokes. Then 10 minutes pass. There's no road. It seems like it's just endless corn. Wait, we passed this corn stalk already, didn't we? It's all corn, man! Trust me, just we'll keep walking. After a bit more walking, panic does begin to kick in, and their phones aren't working. The sun's setting, you can hear coyotes in the distance. You hear that? We're gonna die! By the time they finally stumble out of the cornfield, it's dark, they're dirty, scratched up, and dehydrated. And what do they see throughout the neighborhood filling these streets? Police, firefighters, parents, everybody freaking out. Turns out, word spread fast, and when this group of kids never came home, things got crazy. Hey, a bunch of kids never came home today. Get every unit out there right now, we gotta find them! The whole town formed a frickin' search party. And this shortcut, it added 4 hours. And the kid that had this idea never lived it down. That's insane. There's this one Shell gas station in town, and one afternoon, a middle schooler decides that he is gonna run it. So he's standing in this gas station after school one day. He grabs one of those squeegees and he just starts wiping down cars. Hey, how's it going? Just cleaning up your windshield for you. Thank you, young man. The person would then pay for gas. No, get back in your car. I'll pump it for you and I'll put it away when it's done, all right? You are so sweet. Here's a couple quarters for you. And he just does that over and over and over again. He's getting quarters, sometimes dollar bills. And the best part, the actual clerk inside the gas station is this super old guy, so he doesn't really know what's going on at all. So day after day, this kid's working there like it's a full-service gas station. Cleaning cars, pumping gas, checking the air in the tires. One lady even goes inside and tells the real clerk, "The new guy you hired is fantastic. We all love him." Oh! The clerk squints out the window and sees this kid wiping down a big SUV. Well, as long as he's not breaking anything, I'm fine with it. And for like a month straight, this kid ran his own after-school business at the Shell gas station and nobody stopped him. Now that is a real hustle. It was the hottest week of summer. This one kid shows up to the park with a big red cooler. He opens a chair right next to it and sits down. And when people start complaining about the heat, he pops open his cooler. And inside is dozens of popsicles. I got all sorts of flavors. Red, blue, grape, $3 each. Oh, hey bro, where'd you get all these? Costco, baby. And that day he sold out. And he did it again the next day. By day 3, he's got dry ice in this cooler. And the second he rolled up to the park, people were already there waiting for him with cash in their hand. Soccer kids, the basketball court kids, even younger kids with their parents. One afternoon, this happened. I'll take one red one, please. All right, that's $5. Wait, what? I thought it was $3. I'm sorry, man. It's 95 degrees. Prices go up over 90. Pretty soon, he's known as the popsicle guy. And he's walking out with like $50 to $70 of cash every single day. Business was absolutely booming. What a good summer hustle. One day, the park manager walks by. "Excuse me, man, you had a permit for this? It's hot out today, isn't it?" "Oh, man, it's brutal. Here, take 2 popsicles on the house." My man. And that was that. He continued that for the rest of the summer. You gotta respect the hustle.
ও সরি, আমি আমার কাকে কি বলি? তুমি তো আমার 1 লক্ষ টাকা বেতনের চাকরিই করো না, তুমি কি হয়ে দিবা?
আমি বুঝি আমার মেয়ের সিকিউরিটি। শোনো, তোমাকে 15 লাখ টাকাই দিতে হবে একটা, কিন্তু আমি এখানে এক মুহূর্ত আর থাকবো না। আমার এখানে দম বন্ধ হয়ে মারা যাবো আমি।
শৈলী রাতে বাড়িতে চলে এসেছে। তাছাড়া
তুমি যাচ্ছ বিপরীতে, আবেগ বাড়ছে বহু।
ভাই আজকে না ভাই, বুঝছেন কাজের চাপও বেশি আর বাসায় ফিরতে হবে। সিঙ্গেল নোট
মানে পরিচিত কোনো আদার্স ভালো অপশন যদি থাকে সেখানেও আমাকে একটু রেফার করেন।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, তুমি প্যারা নিও না।
ওইভাবেই বাবার সাথে কথা বলবো। এখন তুমি কি বলো বলো, কিন্তু এখন আমাদের একটা সুস্থ জীবনে ফিরে আসা উচিত, একটা নর্মাল লাইফ লিড করা উচিত।
না হলে না হবে, আমার কোনো প্যারা নাই তো। আরে চাকরিটা
আর কত বলবো তোরে?
শোনো মা, প্রোগ্রাম আছে, ওটা শেষ করেই আসবে, আমাকে বলেছে, কথা হয়েছে।
আর আসছে যেমন ছেলে।
হ্যাঁ বাবা।
সবসময় কি পাওয়াতেই সুখ? তোমার গল্পটা না হয় না পাওয়াতেই হলো, তাতে ক্ষতি কি?
অনেক কথা মুখর আমায় দেখো।
আমি ওকে ভালোবাসি বাবা।
আমি জানি তুই ওকে ভালোবাসিস। ও সুস্থ থাকলে তো কোনো কথাই ছিল না।
জুতাই গানি করতেছে তোর। বুঝো না, আকাশ থেকে নেমে এলো ছোট্ট একটি প্লেন। আমি কুচলে মেরে চলো ভাইয়া, ওর লুকাতে হবে, পালাও।
বুঝেছি, কবিগুরু বলছে যে বুঝাইলে নাকি বিপদ হয়। আমার বিপদ হয়ে গেছে, জুতো চুরি হয়ে গেছে আমার। যখন টাকা হবে তখন নিয়ে যাব, তারপর সেই জাহাজ নামাবো কোথায় যেন, সমুদ্রে। ইসেন আমি পাগল মাস কয়া, আমি এটা ফেলে কিছু আমাকে মারবা?
না, তুমি তো খাচ্ছ, আমি কি তোমাকে মারতেছি?
কবিগুরু রবীন্দ্রনাথ ঠাকুর বলেছেন সব ষড়যন্ত্র এই মির্জাফরের।
বাবা বারবার বলতেছে কারা জানি ওকে মারছে, একটু সাহস হয়েছে নাকি?
জানি না।
জানি না মানে? আমি তো ভাবলাম একটু একটু বেড়েছে, তা না হলে এখানে ডাকলে।
একটা ভালোবাসাকে, একটা সম্পর্ককে, আমার আসলে দুটো নারী থেকে একটা নারীকে বেছে নিতে হয়েছে।
যেখানে কোনো সম্ভাবনা নেই সেখানে আপনার জীবন জড়িয়ে নষ্ট করে কি লাভ?
আমার একটা মা আছে, হ্যাঁ, মার কোলের ভিতরে তো বসে থাকি, দায়িত্ব অনেক। তোর তো কিছুই ঠিক নাই, তুই আমার সাথে আয়, তো আমার সাথে আয় না। এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট আপনার একটা মাস্টার্স কোর্স করতে হবে। ওয়াই, হোয়াট ইজ দিস ম্যান? ওই স্মোক করবো, আই হ্যাভ স্মোক।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, কিচ্ছু করতে হবে না, আমি গোসল করে দেবো, শান্ত ছেলের মতো বসে থাকবা। হ্যাঁ, প্রমিস?
কবিগুরু বলেছেন ভাবো না, আমি হাঁটতে যাবো, আমার পেট বড় হয়ে যাবে না হয়।
তোর সুখের জন্য আমি সব করতে পারি, তুই তুই এভাবে ভেঙে পড়িস না। তুই ভেঙে পড়লে আমার খুব কষ্ট হয়।
আচ্ছা, চোখে গভীরতা কতটুকু পেলে?